How to get into consulting. Hi, my name is Johannes Niari. I'm a project manager in strategy consulting, and welcome to this channel where I want to help you to learn the necessary skills that you need for your first years in consulting. And today I want to talk about how you can get into consulting. And I want to start with the story how I got into consulting. And I have to tell you that I probably was the least likely person to make it into management consulting. So when I decided to get into consulting and when I made a decision that I wanted to become a management consultant, then, I fulfilled none of the criteria that I needed to fulfill. So the thing was that I studied music before I made the decision to join the industry. And when I made this decision, I started, of course, reading about all the requirements that you need to fulfill in order to get into consulting. And, I read a couple of career books, and then I read, you have to have a business degree. You have to have, you have to study at the target university. You have to have awesome grades, good practical experiences. And at that time, I took a look at my CV and I literally fulfilled none of these criteria. But nevertheless, I made a decision to make it into consulting, and I really put in the work. And from that moment on, I really started to learn everything about consulting that I could. So I read a lot of books, I studied management, I really took care of my grades, I joined student consulting clubs, I, learned all the necessary skills. I, tried to do a lot of internships and so on. And around 4 to 5 years later, I finally achieved my goal. So I received offers from the top strategy consulting firms out there and then joined a strategy boutique where I earned 100K in my first year. And of course, for me, this was a huge milestone and a huge achievement because actually, I came from a music background with no business experience at all. And only 4 to 5 years, I made it into a top strategy consulting firm. And, I tell the story to encourage you that no matter where you are at the moment, I really want to encourage you that you can make it if you follow the right steps, okay? If you are persistent, if you are patient, everyone can make it. It doesn't matter, what kind of background you have and what kind of university you study, or if you don't study at all. If you are patient, and yes, for some it gets, it is faster to get into consulting, and for some it might take much more time. But if you stay patient and persistent, and if you put in the work, you will make it, I promise you. But let's now talk about the 3 steps that I followed in order to get into consulting, and I highly recommend that you follow these 3 steps as well. And step number 1 is that you prepare to get invited. And this is the first step. This is very, very important. And you will see throughout the 3 steps that it is all about having the right preparation. So step number 1, preparing to get invited. And this is very important that you start learning about the industry, that you start learning about the requirements that you need to fulfill in order to join the consulting industry. So typically, it depends on what kind of firm you want to join. If you want to go to the strategy sector, there are some other requirements than if you want to join the Big Four. But in general, we can say that there are always the kind of same criteria. So you, in most cases, have to study at a target university. You have to have above average or very, very good grades. You have to have the right personality, and you have to have a lot of very good practical experiences. And this is the first step, that you learn about the consulting industry, figure out what kind of sector you want to join, and then, really work on the areas that you need to improve in order to fulfill those requirements to get invited to a job interview. So this is the first step that you take. Then the second step that you have to take is that you prepare to get the offer. And this is where people talk about, case study preparation, interview prep. And this is also a very important step if you want to get into consulting, because, consulting interviews are kind of very special because there they have this case study method. And this is where they really try to test your problem solving ability before, they hire you. And that's why it's so important to also prepare for that stage, that you really learn about how to do these interviews, how to solve case studies, how to work with brain teasers. And this is step number 2 that you need to follow. And then finally, step number 3 is that you prepare for your consulting career. Because you see, it's one thing to get the offer and to get into consulting, but it's a complete different thing to become a good management consultant. And especially if you do an internship, for example, and want to get the offer afterwards, but also, if you get a full-time offer and you have your first weeks in consulting, it's very important that you learn the necessary consulting skills before you join consulting, okay? So that you learn about PowerPoint, and you learn about Excel, communication, problem solving, organization, mindset, and so on. These are very essential consulting skills that you need to learn before you want to join the industry. Otherwise, you won't make it, and you won't make it for very long. So these are the 3 steps that you need to follow. So it's all about preparation. First, prepare to get invited to an interview. Second, prepare for the interview and prepare for the offer. And third, prepare the consulting skills. Follow these steps, and I guarantee you, if you are persistent and if you put in the work, that you will make it into consulting and that you achieve your career goals. If you want to learn all the necessary consulting skills, then check out the link below. There I have a link to my free masterclass where you can learn the necessary consulting skills that you need for your first years. And with that being said, if you liked the video, then please leave a thumb up and subscribe to this channel. And I hope you have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, Johannes.